Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. If you notice, today's video is going to be inside the truck. It's pretty windy outside and it's cold, so I don't want to try to film outside like I normally do. Plus, today's video, we don't really need to be outside of the truck to do any of it. This video is mainly for my subscribers that have been asking for this. I was supposed to put out a Q&A video like Christmas Eve, I think, or New Year's Eve, whenever I promised it. And I actually filmed the video. I went out, Christmas Eve morning, I went out and I filmed the video doing a Q&A, and I came inside to edit it, and like there was no audio with it. And so I got discouraged from it, and it was, by the time I found all that out, it would have been later in the day on Christmas Eve. And, then I had plans, so it didn't work out. But today I'm going to do the Q&A video and go over what I do for a living, because I know you guys have been asking for that for a while. Alright, so before I start reading all these questions through here, there's many of them that have asked, what do I do for a living? Now, this is kind of confusing because I don't necessarily do one thing. I work for a company that sells and distributes automotive finishes and pretty much anything it takes to fix your car after an accident, other than the physical parts themselves. So we sell to body shops. It's not a walk-in store. It's a chain of warehouses that distributes to body shops and corporate accounts. And we sell different paint lines, of course, the sandpaper, body filler. We mix paint, tint paint, to match the color. And there's also a section of the company that does work on the paint booths, the equipment in the body shop, like compressors and air lines and all that. I work for the company as a whole, but I get thrown around. I'm pretty universal, and I do almost everything there. I can mix paint and work in a warehouse and deliver, and I also get sent on the road and do work like building paint booths, installing air lines and stuff like that. So I stay, it's good to be jumped around, but that's mostly to simplify what I do. That's what I do, but I also have a second job, and some of you guys on Instagram know I actually clean paint booths, and that's a weekend job, and that's a different company, but you see it kind of relates to what I already do. But paint booths, they've got intake and exhaust, and of course it's paint, so of course it's going to stick to stuff, make stuff dirty, and potentially even clog up a stack or a fan for exhaust. And all it's got to be cleaned, and it's a lot of work with glass and the steel grates on the floor. Sometimes you got to go underground and get up in there and clean, and that's what takes up my weekends sometimes. And that's why it gets difficult for me to make YouTube videos consistently, because it just depends on my work schedule between my regular job and that job. But there you go, that's basically what I do for a living. So with that being said, let me get into you guys' questions here that you guys put on this post like way back on before Christmas. First question, why did I choose a 5.3 instead of a 6.0? Well, and this is one I've gotten a lot recently. So for one, a 5.3, you can pick them up, you can find them in the ditch, basically. I mean, they're everywhere. And a 6.0 is a little bit more difficult to find. It's not, either brand new and they want thousands of dollars for it, or it's really old and it's not worth it. And if you find the in between, they're still twice to 3 times the price of a 5.3, excuse me. And there's already a 5.3 in here, and especially if you guys have watched Cletus's video with that turbo 5.3 vet, you can make all the power you've ever wanted out of a 5.3, I promise you. And yes, you may make more power with a little bit less money invested into a 6.0, but the problem is the 6.0 is going to cost you more money from the get-go, and the parts are usually a little bit more expensive than a 5.3 as well, depending on the parts. They're about the same for a lot of it. But you end up at the same amount of money spent for potentially 50 more horsepower, depending on what you do. You may not even get that. I know a lot of people that don't even get that out of a cam heads build, much more than a 5.3. So that's why I chose a 5.3. I got a killer deal on this 5.3, $300 for a complete 5.3 that ran. That's really hard to beat, and I found a 6-liter nowhere near this low of miles for that price. Bowtie Tyler, what is my dream build? My dream build is to build a Duramax, and we'll get to that soon. When am I going to spray the truck? And I'm sure he's talking about nitrous. Probably never. I'm not going to put nitrous. If anything, I'll do forced induction, but not nitrous. It's unnecessary. Has the light bar in behind my grill made my trans temp go up? Yes, actually it does. And actually, since the new engine has been put in, I did not put the light bar back. Just because of transmission temperature and engine temperature, it does block the transmission cooler. Now, that being said, I plan to fix that. I actually plan to get a bigger transmission cooler, and then I'll put the light bar back once I do that. But right now, I don't even have a light bar back there because it runs about 50 degrees hotter with the light bar in front of it than it does without it. And of course, that makes sense. Bear Flag, do I watch Sloppy Mechanics channel? Yes, I do. I actually found it not too long ago, and it's a great channel, especially for us LS guys, 5.3s and everything like that. Did I remove the resonators from my Silverado? Johnny, my truck is way too old to have resonators. That wasn't a thing back in 2004. This truck only had 2 catalytic converters and 1 muffler. Nowadays, some of these trucks have got 4 catalytic converters and a muffler and a resonator. Actually, I'm looking at a Dodge right now. I can see the resonators underneath of it. And then in front of that, he's got a muffler, and he's definitely got catalytic converters. Now, the new trucks have got so much crap under the exhaust. I mean, you know, under the truck for the exhaust. But mine didn't have resonators. So, can't really answer that question for you. Why not go with a 4L80E? What upgrades did you do to the 4L60E? Building a 5.3 with a cam in it. What's the hardest part? And I guess there's a bunch of questions in there. 4L80E is a lot more expensive than a 4L60E, and I didn't think I needed it. And this, you know, and there's a video. I'll put it down below. There's a video of what I've done to the transmission. I won't go over it in this video. It'll get too long. But this transmission is going to hold up just fine to the power. I've already went back and even talked to the guy that built it, told him what we've done. He is not worried about it at all. It's going to hold up to the power that I'm putting through it right now. And the hardest part camming the 5.3, I don't know what to tell you. If you're doing it in the truck, your hardest part is probably going to be working in the truck, you know, because you're not on a stand. Cheat my tires that you've personally ran on my trucks. A Turo Trailblade MTs. It's very well known that I absolutely hated them. I hated them so much that I burnt them off soon after I got them in a burnout competition and sold them ridiculously dirt cheap to 540 Ho because I hated them so bad. They're an awful tire. Some people like them, but you know what? When you spend the money on a good tire and you compare it to the Turo is awful, and that's going to offend some people, but it really is. Traction, the ride quality, the sound, it's horrific. The Toyo MT was a fantastic tire compared to that, and it looks the same. You know, it costs, you know, a good bit more, but golly, I mean, I don't understand why Turos were so much less quality than the Toyos, especially being designed nearly the same. Justin Darden, when will I go turbo? I don't know. I guess when I get another truck. Now, I'm not promising I'm going to do a turbo, but if I get a Duramax and that'll be something a little bit more reliable, maybe we'll do something silly with this. Austin Davis, what is my major in college? Business management. And why do I prefer Chevy? It's just what I was raised up with was Chevy, and that's the story. That's the story with the majority of us. You know, whether you're live in the north, the south, out west, or wherever. If you were raised in a family that only owned Fords, you're more than likely going to be, you know, loyal to Ford, just like I've been loyal to Chevy. But you know what? Nowadays you can't buy a bad truck. They're all great trucks, but you're going to be hard pressed to prove to me that this generation, like the early 2000s generation Ford, is better than the Chevy, because I even have Ford people that tell me that's not, Chevy's a better quality in the early 2000s than the Fords. They really sucked. Why an extend cab? It's just what I bought at the time. I mean, it's just what I got, you know. This truck was in extremely great condition when I got it, and it still is, and I didn't need a crew cab. Now I want a crew cab, but I don't. There's times when I'm like, oh, if only I had a crew cab, but it's not the end of the world that I have an extend cab. Why did I waste my money on a 4L60E? I think we kind of answered that earlier on, that I didn't waste my money on a 4L60E. Alex, her top speed. I guarantee this new engine has a lot higher top speed than the stock one did. And I've had this truck up to 123, And it goes to 120, but I know that because I had somebody with me that had the phone speedometer, like when Snapchat had the speedometer thing. They had it 153 on the dyno. Now, if it's going 153 on the dyno, I would say this truck would do 130 on the street. But the truck has 153 in it, you know, without load, you know, on the dyno. Luke Long, what ply are my tires and how much are they a piece? They are 10 ply and they are $500 a piece. Do I ever consider doing YouTube full time in the future? That came from Luke. He's actually got a YouTube channel. No, because I don't think it's sustainable, and this might kind of hurt some people's feelings, but this is all going to change eventually. It may not be 2 years from now, and it may not be 5 years from now, but YouTube, something will change to limit all the income that people are making from YouTube, including myself, or it'll just kind of be phased out. I don't necessarily know phased out, but things are going to change to where being a full-time YouTuber is just not going to be worth it anymore, and I already know that's going to happen. Just when it happens is the question. It's not a sustainable way of life. Kevin, any plans to swap the 0607 hood and grill? No, I actually answered that on Instagram. I said my buddy Graham actually holds down that front end gang for me. No, because it's not worth it, because if I buy the hood and then paint it and then buy the grill and it'd be like $300 or $400, I'd rather spend the $300 or $400 on another part for the truck, because I could probably buy upper control arms for less than that and some other parts. It's just not worth it. I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. What heads am I running? They are Texas Speed, actually the precision race components. Stage 2.553 heads by Texas Speed. Max says traction bars. At the time I film this, I'm on stock tires, and these things really need traction bars. It wheel hops pretty bad. On the 35s, it doesn't really. So I don't know. Maybe if we get any more power, probably I'll have to do it. Colin, did I sand my bumpers before I painted them, and where did I get the paint? Well, given that you guys heard at the beginning of the video what I did for work, you can probably guess where I got the paint. And, you know, of course, I did that myself. But, no, I actually did not sand the bumpers down. They still have a little bit of texture to them, but let me tell you, if you want a smooth piece of plastic and you don't want to sand it, epoxy primer is your best bet to do. It'll actually fill in the texture. So if you shoot the epoxy down, then do your base coat, you know, then you're clear. For one, the paint will stick to the plastic a whole lot better. It'll hold up longer. It'll be smooth, and it'll just look a whole lot better because it'll be nice and smooth and pretty. But the answer is no, I did not sand them down, but that's how you would do it if you want it smooth. What state am I in and where am I from? I'm in Virginia, and I'm from Roanoke, Virginia. If you're not familiar with where that is, that's in Southwest Virginia. And if you're still not familiar whereabouts Southwest Virginia is, if you've ever heard of Virginia Tech, that's Southwest Virginia. That's kind of the area. All right, 2 more questions, and then that'll be about the end of this video. Edgar, how much trimming did I actually do to fit my wheel and tire setup? A lot. You know, it was a lot of plastic and a good bit of metal and beating with a hammer to beat it in. And the last question, any way to fix the oil pressure and lifter tick problem? Replace the oil pump. That's the best thing you could do for oil pressure. And I'll tell you what, even on this brand new engine right now, I seem to be having an oil pressure problem. I'm only getting about 30 to 40 PSI on a Chevy Performance oil pump. And I feel like I'm going to have to take that back off and replace it, which is really going to suck because it's a brand new oil pump. But you'd have to take the front cover off, of course, and drop the oil pan, and then get in there and replace the oil pump, because you have to drop the tube. That's why you have to take the pan off, because you can actually access the oil pump from just the front cover, but in order to get that tube off, you're gonna have to drop the pan. So there you go, guys. There's a Q&A. I'm gonna have a lot more, interesting videos coming up here, like the one we did that last upload with the pools. I appreciate you guys watching. Drop any comments you got down below. I always try to answer them, or at least say something to them. Follow me over on Instagram at Austin04_Z71. Take care. Have a great day.